Hi, this is Chris from Team Phoenix. So I just had some important updates that I wanted to share with you about day 3 of the search for missing Suzanne. Obviously, I am following this very closely and seeing what develops. So, as I understand, they now have this was a picture of day 3 yesterday when volunteers were meeting up. And as I understand, they now have in the region of kind of 600 to 700 volunteers who are being actively helping with the search, which is absolutely fantastic. And I know that there are a couple of people on this channel in our community who are involved in that, so that's absolutely brilliant as well. Kudos to you guys. Just make sure you stay safe out there. And I understand that they've covered about 4,500 miles now in this search, which is amazing, really, when you think about it and how vast the terrain is out in that area. So there have been, I must say, there's been a couple of very interesting developments and something that I just wanted to share with you. I've been in touch, or I've been speaking with Morgan Gentile, one of the contractors, of course, that Barry employed, and it's just something that she said to me that I want to share with you, which I found interesting, which I'll bring to you at the end. But if you can just see here, Andy, obviously he's on a mission to find his sister, and I'm sure that everybody just wishes them all the best and can only applaud them for their efforts. To be perfectly honest, I've never quite seen anything like this in any case, any kind of public search like this on this scale. Just one thing I wanted to clear up, this picture here. I know I kind of wondered yesterday who this chap was that Barry is speaking with. Let me just bring it in here. But I've actually been told this is a chap called Mark. This is somebody that Barry knows from Indiana, and he's been involved in the search. And I think he's just being a kind of ear for Barry, really. If he, if he feels he needs someone to talk to and lean on. Um, so yeah, this is a chap called Mark. It's not Tyson Draper. It's not one of the Draper brothers, from what I understand. So I just wanted to clear that up. Now, if anybody hasn't watched Profiling Evil's channel, they have obviously been fundamentally involved in the search, and they're keeping everybody updated. So please go and watch Profiling Evil. They've obviously got a fantastic setup over there. The technology that they're using in this search is just amazing. But there was something quite big's cropped up. So this was Andy Moorman mentioned this. This was an area that was recognized by one of the team on Profiling Evil, one of the engineers, and it's in the White Pines area because Andy sent a lot of some of the searches up to the White Pines area, which I understand is about 21 miles west of um, Salida, and something really kind of perked their interest. Now, when I show you this photo, you'll probably realize why. So this photo here is actually was taken. I don't know who took this photo or who Barry was with at this time, but this was on day 3 of his very initial search. So this was right back on May 13th, and it said that Barry recognised or an area that he thought, or what he said was basically he stopped. The person that with him has said he stopped his truck and he said, "I need to look over this bluff to see if anybody threw Suzanne over it." Now, I didn't actually know what a bluff was. I had to look it up. It's basically like a cliff, but it's more of a rounded cliff face, more than a straight sheer drop. It's more of a kind of rounded shape to it. But what they found interesting about this is when they went up there to look, there is no bluff there. And that really kind of confused and threw off Andy, because obviously Barry, you can clearly see here, he stopped, he laid down on the ground, appearing to be exhausted. Let me just see if I can zoom in a little bit. But there was no bluff there, no sheer drop there. It's just a hill, as I understand. So that was interesting. Andy certainly thought that was quite pertinent that that occurrence had happened. So I found that quite that very interesting. And that's the area there. You can see, that's the area they went to. The same area as where Barry stopped and laid down, and the area where he said the bluff was, and he wanted to check. When Andy and his searchers went up there, there is no bluff there. So that's kind of odd. Kind of odd. I think you'd have to agree. So just moving on to that, there's been a huge development with the work site, the beachfront site out in East Salida, it's off Country Road 105. This is the work site where they dug out the concrete and where the neighbour said she heard machinery. Now, I understand that they brought in a Cadaver dog, and the dog picked up a passive hit on that area where the beachfront is, where that rock face area is. A passive hit, basically, as it was described on Profiling Evil, is when a dog picks up a scent, but he can't get to that scent. He can't get to the direct route of that scent, if you know what I mean. So rather than a full hit where the dog will sit down to signal that he's found Cadaver and it's there, he knows where the dog knows where it is. They pick up the scent of the Cadaver, but they can't tell where it's kind of originated from, if that makes sense. So the dog hit there, a passive scent. I also understand there have been 2 passive hits as well from a Cadaver dog, but I don't know where those sites are, where those scenes are. That hasn't been disclosed yet. But that's interesting. We've got 1 passive hit from a Cadaver dog at that beachfront area, and there's 2 passive hits from a Cadaver dog somewhere else. Obviously, we don't know. Could be totally unrelated to this case, of course. I don't know where these 2 other hits are, but this one here at this site is obviously particularly interesting. And just moving on for that, one more piece of information I have for you. I've sort of managed to get hold of Morgan Gentile, and something that she said to me about the Saturday morning just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of stuck with me a little bit. Reason being, I'll tell you in a minute, but I asked her about the Saturday morning. This is, of course, when she went to work at that site, at that work site with Barry off County Road 105. And I asked her what time, just out of interest, I asked her what time Barry picked her up that morning to go to that site. And so she said he texted saying 9 a.m. but changed his mind back to 8 a.m. He said because he was tired from a fire that he was called onto in Maysville, but there was no fire near Maysville or close to his house. Now, what I found interesting about that was, if you remember from Morgan's interview with Lauren Shaft, she said that they finished work that day at 11 a.m. because Barry said that he needed to get back to his wife to make her happy, go biking or hiking or whatever. But it just seems strange to me that he would leave at 8 a.m. I'm not sure how long it takes him to get from Maysville to East Salida, probably only 20 minutes, half an hour. But it just seems a very short amount of time to devote to a work job. So, I just found it interesting. And this kind of talk, I'll be there at 9 um, and then back to 8. Has something happened that Saturday morning at the home when he's talked with Suzanne? Is that why he felt that he had to finish at 11 and go home? It just kind of maybe helps just fit a little bit more to the timeline and the puzzle surrounding that Saturday. Because we understand that he finished at 11 and then went into Maysville town. We're still not sure about that. And then he had to go home. Why was that job cut so short? And why did he feel that he needed to get back on that day to make his wife happy? Did they have some sort of altercation that morning? I know I don't want to throw out loads of speculation out there, but it's just kind of interesting to me that kind of part to the story. So it's just something to think about. But that's pretty much it for today. So some pretty interesting points there. And I think the biggest bit of news really is the Cadaver dogs hitting a passive hit at that work site. I found that, and these two um, full hits that we don't know where these are, but hopefully at some point later on down the line we'll find out more about that. And I just wanted to finish on saying all this sort of reporting that I'm doing is purely for one reason. It's for justice for Suzanne. I think like everybody else, all we want to do is to help to find Suzanne. It's not my job here to pitch people against each other or to drive a mob mentality against any one particular person. I'm literally researching, reporting what I find out. It gives you guys an idea and an update on what's happening with the searches and how this investigation is panning out. But of course, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, in a court of law. And I think we do need to bear that in mind. But obviously, certain behaviours and the way this investigation and case is going, it's going to raise suspicion. But I just wanted to make that clear. This channel in no way is trying to pitch families or people against each other or trying to drive any kind of mob mentality towards any particular individual. So please bear that in mind. But on that note, I will bring you further updates on the search for Suzanne Morphew as they come in.